following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Sounds like 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Cindric. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a Monday afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee. Depending on where you are, it may be pouring, it may be sunshine, it may be all of the above. It's a crazy time in August, and normally this is a really hot month, and don't be surprised if that sort of continues. Anyway, we got a good show for you. Although in the 30 years that I have done either sports talk radio or the month I've done this, I have never come on the air and said, listen, we have a crappy show. Go ahead and turn it off. I've never done that. So let's check in with all who are a part of this. Let's head up to the plateau, say hello to Coach Watson Brown. Watson, have I ever, that you can remember, ever said, look, it's going to be a crummy show. I'll just level with you up front.
No. That's why I never said I was going to lose a football game, but that don't mean there wasn't a crappy show or a lost football game.
Did you ever, as a coach, know before kickoff we have no chance?
Oh, there was a few that we were major underdogs in. Yeah, there's been a few of those, especially those latter year FCS games when I played. Well, let's see. I think at Tennessee Tech, I played 12 or 13 of those FBS opponents. And I don't think all of them were Power Five. So what do you figure about those? That's
so deep down, you knew.
That was a good chance.
Yeah.
It was, we were shooting for halftime scores. We took pictures that we scored first on Oregon.
Right. I remember
Mariota's first start at Oregon. We scored first. You remember the Rogers kid that transferred from Tennessee? He caught one and took it in for 6. I got him to take a picture of the scoreboard. And we had to do it quickly because they scored within 15 seconds.
That's not good.
In that time in between, George, of kicking it off, we got the picture taken and 7-zip Golden Eagles.
Nice. Hold on to that picture.
Yeah.
Billy, what's going on over there?
George, nothing much. We're ready here on a Monday. We've got Terry in, so that's good news. Said he had some connectivity issues with the internet. But
really, let's find out about those because it never happens to me. Terry McCormick, with don't you read something on Terry?
Yes, I do, George. And Terry is powered by the great folks at the Justin Tucker team. Of course, with Platinum Realty Partners, they are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, call them at 615-906-8458. He's also sponsored by Sumner Funeral and Cremation. They are sharing their family with yours in your time of need, now with 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and online at sumnerfuneral.com. Sumner Funeral and Cremation, traditional, affordable, and dignified.
Okay, let's pull up Terry and check out the background. There he is. Terry,
how are you, George?
I would describe today's background as plain.
Well, it's a couple of windows and the back door of my house. There you go.
Beautiful. So, weird week for the Titans, partly because of a Thursday night preseason game, which doesn't happen very often. But am I right? Today is the only practice you all get to see?
Yes, there's a practice tomorrow that is closed to the media. It is done for situational purposes to get ready for the game and all that wonderful stuff. So I guess they decided we didn't need to see that one. So today was it for us.
Okay, so no Yancey Thigpen on special teams, no surprises that we may have to report on later.
No, not that we're aware of.
So as they get ready for this game, Terry, give me just an overall sense of where you think they are right now.
Well, I think this is a team that obviously has some new guys that they want to break in. Now, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to take any snaps tomorrow night. I think they're going to save him for the joint practices that are coming up against the New England Patriots. I'm thinking of Tom Brady, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week. And I think that when you look at that, I think, you've seen some good new receivers that have made some strides here. We're talking Treylon Burks. We're talking Kyle Phillips, Racey McMath. And I think you want to see those guys, even if it's not Ryan Tannehill throwing them the football Thursday night. I think you want to see those guys continue to take some of the steps that they've taken in practice, because some of those guys look like they could be figuring into some key roles in this passing game this year.
Okay, give me your sense of how they play the quarterbacks Thursday night. Is it Logan Woodside first half, a little bit of the second half? What do you think?
I think it probably goes Logan Woodside the first half and Malik Willis the second half. That would be my guess. I don't think you'll see Tannehill, as I said before, but I think you'll see a good bit of Logan Woodside to start the game and throughout the first half. And then I think you'll see them either, if Woodside plays one series in the second half, they'll turn it over to Malik Willis, or they could just start the second half with the rookie and just let him roll and see what they've got.
Yeah. Let's go on the defensive side real quick. Tell me what you think you're seeing, because at the end of last year, they had a Godzilla pass rush that nobody in the NFL could handle.
Yeah, I think that they're hoping to continue that. I think they're going to be better on the back end. I think they're going to be really good on the back end because of that pass rush. I think you're going to see a team that, if they can stay healthy on the defensive side of the ball, could have the potential to do some really special things this year, not only with quarterback sacks, but I think one of the areas of emphasis is to try to get more takeaways, more interceptions, more strip sacks, more fumble recoveries, things like that. I think that is the next step for this Titans defense, is to create more turnovers and create a short field for the offense.
When are you going to Yankee Stadium?
Actually, we're going to Fenway Park this weekend.
Red Sox Yankees?
Yes, indeed.
Really? How'd you get the tickets? Give us the secret.
Went online and ordered them.
Did you really?
I did.
Well,
a month ago.
One thing that's going on at Fenway, bad year for the Red Sox. All of a sudden, there are a bunch of empty seats up there.
Yeah, we'll be over in right field in foul territory down the right field line, but never been there. I'm looking real forward to it.
Well, let me tell you this. Get there about 3 hours early, because around Fenway Park is an area that is so cool. Even though you're not a Red Sox fan, those people love that team and they love baseball, and you all will love that environment.
All right, I'll check it out. Thanks, George.
Terry, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
All right, see you guys.
Okay, that's Terry McCormick's Daily Titans update. We're going to get more into the Titans after the break. Billy, you have an update. Item numero uno.
Number one, George, the annual coaches poll has been released, USA Today coaches poll. And guess who number one is? The Alabama Crimson Tide. They are way ahead of everybody, 54 first-place votes. And then you got Ohio State and Georgia, who also received first-place votes. Down the line, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan, Texas A&M, Utah, Oklahoma, and Baylor. So there's your all-important coaches poll.
So, Watson, this is the first time, if memory serves me correct, that Utah has gotten this kind of respect this early.
And it's still not enough. I think they should be higher. I don't think Clemson should be 4. I don't see that yet. They weren't anywhere close to that last year.
Not unless the quarterback plays way better.
And he's got to show us that. So I personally didn't think they should be there. Notre Dame lost a lot of people and a new coach. I'm not sure they should be 5. That's pretty high for them, in my opinion. So there's a couple that I would have thrown Utah in front of for sure.
Item number 2.
Item number 2, George, we go to the NBA. Kevin Durant has given an ultimatum to the Nets owner Joe Tsai, according to a report. In the meeting, Durant said that he did not have faith in the team's direction and that Tsai needed to choose between either KD or general manager Sean Marks and coach Steve Nash. So Durant is entering the first year of a 4-year contract, of course, he just received, but there's some drama up in Brooklyn.
So, Watson, how in the world, if the Nets don't get rid of him, don't find the proper stuff to make a Durant trade, how do you, as the head coach, deal with a player that you know openly has put the either he or me out there?
I don't know. To me, Kevin just set it up. He's got to go.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
He did it intentionally?
Hopefully they get a good trade for him. But he's got to go.
Don't you think he did it that way intentionally?
Absolutely. And what irritates me a little bit about Kevin, I think he's a great player, but he needs to just play basketball and stay out of management. And he kind of is the one that set up last year's team.
Oh, absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, the general manager and the coach have got to go now. And I just this one bothers me a little bit. This stuff is going too far. And basketball's the worst of the sports right now, in my opinion, George, other than maybe quarterbacks in football a little bit. But the big-time players in basketball, to me, are overstepping their bounds.
The inmates are running the asylum.
So I'll let you say that one. I'm going to stay away from that one.
Hey, it's pretty close.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue.
Not touching that one. Number 3.
Number 3, we go to the NFL. Baker Mayfield back in the news, but for good reason for him. Apparently, he's got the inside track on the starting quarterback job. Not sure how much of a shock that comes to you guys, but it looks like it's Baker Mayfield's job to win right now.
Watson, to me, he has shown better stuff. His best stuff is better than Sam Darnold's best stuff.
Oh, I thought that was a great trade for the Panthers because I'm not a Sam Darnold guy yet, George. I'm just not. Hopefully he'll become that, but I'm not. And I think I'm still a Baker Mayfield guy. He's going to have to prove it this go-around. I just thought Cleveland, there was a lot of stuff there, some things he did to himself a little bit off the field, and then his injuries. This kid was tougher than nails and doesn't get credit for it. A lot of them would not be out there with the injuries, especially his shoulder, and yet he played through it and tried to help his team win games. So I'm expecting him to step up big time if he's truly healthy, and it sounds like he is.
Watch the box scores carefully in Carolina because how they play in those 3 preseason games will ultimately determine what's going to go down. With Baker, he'd better win that job or you wonder what his future is in the NFL. Yep. Item number 4.
Item number 4, George, we go to the NFL, stay in the NFL. We go to Oakland. According to NFL insider Ian Rappaport, the Raiders have no intentions of trading the former Pro Bowl running back. And, quote, my understanding is the Raiders are not trying to trade Josh Jacobs and are not planning on trading Josh Jacobs, all those things. So he's staying in Oakland.
So, Watson, I'm lost on this one. I've been a big Josh Jacobs fan. If you know his story, you know he has come from virtually nothing, including being homeless in his, teenage years. The guy runs hard. Why wouldn't Oakland like him?
Blows my mind. I don't understand it at all. And I've seen him play well for Oakland. I've seen him make plays. You think this guy, he's not a kid anymore, but when he was a kid, George, the NIL wouldn't have helped him? Jimmy.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
There's a perfect example of what the NIL can do. And it just wasn't around then for him to reap the benefits of it. And then, not to change the subject, but to go on that NIL, do you see that piece with Kentucky when they had the fundraiser and all the kids, the basketball players, gave all their autographs and the money they made off of that and giving it to to the people with the flood victims. My gracious, let's don't talk about all the negatives of the NIL. There's a lot of positives.
There are some good. You're exactly right.
Yep.
Okay, we're not going to bring up the Cale Gundy situation until the 5 o'clock hour. Watson and Cale Gundy have a long-time relationship, and I think you're going to learn some things around 5:20 this afternoon that you may not know about that story. We'll open the phone lines at 5:40. I'll get Billy to put the number up there shortly. 5:40 is when we will open the phones. And when we come back, Watson's analysis of the 4 things that the Titans will try to accomplish Thursday night when they go to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I've done sports, I've been a photographer, I've been an editor, I've been a producer, I've been a reporter, I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
Man, it's hard to believe that the Titans will play their first preseason game this coming Thursday. Holy cow. The time has flown. Baltimore Ravens up there in their beautiful stadium. Let's take a look real quickly. Get Watson Brown in here because I asked him to put together 4 real points of emphasis for this first game. And so, Billy, if you want to go to that graphic here in a minute, we'll punch it up there. So Watson, let's go with item number 1, which is start to settle on a backup quarterback. Everything we're hearing is that Logan Woodside, it's his, but we don't know anything about him.
Oh, I don't. I'd say it's his today, but man, there's a lot of really good reps coming in the next 3 weeks or so, George. So everybody's talking about wanting to see Malik Willis. I really had rather, I want to see Logan Woodside. I want to watch how he handles the starting bunch against the starters early in the first quarter and even with the backups into the second quarter. I want to see how is he possibly a starter worthy if we hurt our quarterback. And so I think my eyes are going to be more on him than even Malik Willis. Here's what I think Malik Willis will look like. He's going to make a really good play and you say, ooh, he's got a shot. And then there's going to be some poor plays. So that's what I would say we'll see there. But what's Logan Woodside going to look like? Because we've been very lucky, guys, in this city the last couple of years. Marcus Mariota would stay injured a lot, and we're playing a different guy. Since Ryan Tannehill took over, he hadn't been out, and that doesn't just keep happening. So we better improve the protection for him, number one, and our backup better be good enough to, if we're in the race, which I think we're absolutely going to be, we better have a backup quarterback or they're going to regret this the last couple of years. It hadn't bit them in the fanny yet, George, in any way because we haven't had an injury. But is Logan Woodside good enough to be our backup quarterback?
So, Watson, I have harped all over this issue for a couple of years, and I'm like you. I think they've gotten extremely lucky in that Ryan Tannehill has been tough as nails, and God knows last season he got popped all over the place, and I don't know how he kept coming back for more. But best as you can see, if the situation had to happen, what level of confidence do you have in Logan Woodside?
I don't know. We never seen him. He hadn't played in the last 2 years. He played some in the preseason, but nothing stuck out to where I said, yep, he can be the backup. And it didn't stick out to me, George, where I said, no, he can't be the backup. So I'm anxious to see because in this first one, it's his team. We're not going to see Ryan Tannehill in this first game. So we're on the road against a good defense. I'm just anxious to see his demeanor, all the pieces it takes to be a starting quarterback in this league. And I hope and pray we don't get to the point where it doesn't happen this year. But odds are, sooner or later, it's going to happen. I just can't tell you how many times I didn't think Ryan Tannehill would get up last fall, and the kid kept getting up and going back and playing again.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to item number 2. A year ago, the Titans had a couple of draft picks that, at least in year one, you really didn't get a whole lot out of them. And Watson, you've made the point. These two have got to step up. Give me some thoughts on both of them as best you think you do know.
Well, one has had injury issues, and that's Farley. Redunce is not. I think they've hidden that they weren't just thrilled with him when he came in. Now, that's my opinion. We haven't heard that from the Titans whatsoever. He gave a great sign of hope in the last game of the year last year. He played, he started, and did a pretty good job. But he's got to step up and be what he's supposed to be. He's got to be a starter and a factor in this offensive line. We drafted him too high not to be. And the second piece is guard or tackle. It's a lot easier to play guard in the NFL than tackle. And I think
hold on there. Why is that? I have no idea.
Athleticism on the flanks. The guys rushing off the corners are just special players, George. The guys inside like Simmons, there's some great ones. But most of them, half of them, I'll say, are a pushing pile. That's what they do. And when the guards have got bodies all around them. so they can bounce them off the center and the tackle on both sides. The tackle has an open space in pass protection. Both of them do. And you're just blocking a better overall game after game, player after player. You're blocking a better athlete. So where does he fall? Is it guard or tackle? It looks like guard right now to me, but we'll see. I'm going to see where he starts Thursday night. And then how good is he? Does he look like a high draft choice that it's time for him to step up on this team? It's time, and he's got to do that.
Okay. On Farley, as you mentioned, it was all injury, but they knew that going in, and they still took him, which tells me they think he's just a terrific athlete.
We've done this a lot recently. We've signed free agents that were hurt. Some of them came through, some of them didn't. Most of them didn't come through till later in the year with their injuries. We signed Simmons with a torn ACL. And I think when they did that, and then he's turned out to be a great player, an all-pro player, then I think they've stuck with that theory of let's go get these injured guys that are lower in the draft or a free agent that's been injured and bring them in. Here's another one in Caleb Farley. Didn't do much at all last year, had back issues, kind of looked like he got past that, and then he hurts a knee. He's got to step up. He was drafted way too high. We're very young at corner. We need a corner to come through. Caleb Farley is that person, and it's his time to take the step. I hope for his sake and the Titans' sake he does. It's not going to be just Thursday night with him, George. I want to see him play well and stay healthy because he didn't stay healthy even in college. So he's got to show us that he can take that long stretch in the NFL, which you should be able to do as a corner. You should. That's not one of the getting injured positions that much. You should stay healthy, and I'm anxious to see him play Thursday night, but I'm also anxious to see him stay on the field and be a major contributor for this team. If he doesn't come through, I don't think we take that next step we're wanting to take.
Okay, now to the pressure point. Treylon Burks. This guy's got a ton of pressure on him because essentially it's him for A.J. Brown, which is unfair to him as a rookie. But boy, John Robinson needs this kid to hit big. Watson, what do you think?
I don't know. Anxious to see. I remember A.J. Brown when he first started and what he was last year. This kid's got to be better than A.J. Brown was when he first started if he's going to play A.J. Brown's role. That's the way I look at it, George. It's not just, well, he's got a great future. Well, if he's got a great future, but he's not there yet, why did we let A.J. Brown go? So to me, Burks has got to get the Titans off the hook here a little bit. And I promise you, they're begging for him to come through. But he's got to step up to the plate. If we don't get A.J. Brown play out of him, we're not going to be as good as we were last year, in my opinion, even though there are other offensive positions that may be better. Hooker at tight end, they're really talking strong about the Phillips kid at inside receiver. Woods is a proven player, but again, injured. And we got to see if he's back healthy again. But Burks has got to not only come through, he's got to get up in that range of A.J. Brown last year, not A.J. Brown as a rookie.
Yeah, seems to me to be almost impossible, but you saw him at Arkansas. You had strong opinions about him as a Razorback. Talk to me about those.
He reminded me of A.J. Brown, maybe even a little more athletic than A.J. when he gets the ball in his hands. A.J.'s a strong runner. This kid can run over you and dodge you. He's got a great burst. A.J. had a burst too. So he's got all the pieces. He was tougher nails watching him play. A.J. showed that too in the NFL. I didn't see that, but he wasn't asked to be really just a tough guy at Ole Miss. But Burks had that image of that team last year. He was the persona of toughness, which they wanted to be. And he was top of the line in showing that competitiveness, toughness. I really liked the pick when they drafted him, George. I really did. And then he came in and had his issues and didn't get to go into the spring stuff at all. But he seems to be come back from that. How quick will he get the NFL game? And the NFL game is some ways different than the college game. The college game is more zone first, man second. But there is a big difference in the NFL and college in this way. The NFL can bang you early, but then they got to let you go at 5 yards. In the college game, you could get banged all over the field. It should be easier in the press man for him if he can get off the line of scrimmage, because he's going to get free after 5 yards. And so I just think he's a big watch in this preseason.
Okay, nobody should care one way or the other what my opinion would be here. I want yours. Your gut feeling, is he going to be a number one level receiver in the NFL?
Yes, I think we might need to cover for him just a little early. Not that he'll not play well, but I think the young man is going to get better every week if he stays healthy. He's got to stay healthy. He's too young and inexperienced to do what AJ and Julio had to do last year and miss 2 or 3 games and then come back and be a good player. I don't think he can do that. I don't think he's ready to do that. Let's cross our fingers that he stays healthy. I'll bet you by midseason he's a really good player.
We've got one more to go, but I want to make the point. You all can see exactly why I love having Watson Brown on this show. He'll teach you things. God knows he's tried to teach me things that hadn't worked. But the point is, you can really learn some stuff from this guy, inner workings of football. So let's go offensive line. Watson, they weren't nearly as good a year ago as they had been 2 seasons, in the 2 seasons before that. So, yeah, offensive line play is huge here. In your mind, what is it that took them from one level down a notch?
2 things. Number one, injury. We had a bunch of them in and out, in and out, in and out. Now, a lot of these were pro guys that have been around a long time, so they could come back and play. But still, there is nothing on the football field, George, that has to be coordinated. Nothing anywhere on the football field that has to be coordinated as well as the offensive line. They have got to be together on their their calls, passing down what we're doing. And then when they come off the ball, the fluidness of the coordination, you got to be able to see. And a coach, a guy that knows, can see it. I didn't see it last year. They got away with it because when we lost Derrick Henry, they kind of left the offensive line and said, well, we've lost our runner. Derrick's back. This team only gets to the Super Bowl when Derrick Henry, in my opinion, is having a great year running the ball, and then all of those play action and RPO passes come off of that for Ryan Tannehill, and not put Ryan Tannehill in that drop back mode, because that's not what Ryan Tannehill does the best either. They better get the running game going. And if they don't, they better be much better drop back pass protectors. The best thing for drop back pass protection is to run the ball. If you run the ball well and you stay within the chains, and then you get to throw those RPOs, which isn't drop back passes, and play action passes, which are not drop back passes, the offensive line can have a much better chance to be good.
Okay, last question. Watson, new stuff here. Fill in the blank. You ready?
Yeah.
The one player the Titans cannot lose in the offensive line from injury is whom?
Oh, gosh. It's such a new line. That one would be hard to call. I still would put Taylor Lewan there just because of his attitude, his experience, his work ethic and toughness. I think that's got to be there to spread through those 5 guys. He's got that arrogant attitude I think you got to have. They got a lot of new faces stuck in there. I would probably pick him, but my gosh, it's such a new group, George. That's hard. I'm more nervous about the last thing we talked about for the Titans than any of the other pieces, because if that offensive line didn't get back to 2 years ago, we're not going deep again this year.
Okay, if you liked this kind of analysis, Friday, after the first preseason game, tune us in for Watson's Titans analysis as he breaks down what he saw good and bad in game number 1. When we come back, we're going to show you my little induction speech Saturday night from the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. A lot of you not able to be there, so we're going to show it to you. It may be a good time to fall asleep. Who knows? This is Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local, and I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years. And keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers, and that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
Well, as most of you know, it was an exciting weekend for me going into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. I want to thank that organization for what they did for me, because it was terrific for me. It really was. I'm overwhelmed by the number of people who have reached out in support of me. I'll promise you, as you watch this film, one area where I was not a Hall of Famer was in the meal beforehand. Just watch.
So, can I be honest? I have got my coat buttoned because dinner was a disaster. I look like John Belushi in Animal House. We have practiced this at this table over here. All of the stains are right below there. It's pathetic. Willie, first of all, thank you for the nice words. I'll give you the money later. Let me congratulate all of the winners tonight who were here and the group, the legacy group. I was the one who replaced Jack Eaton at Memphis State. And so when I saw that film footage, man, that really hit home with me. It's been 35 years ago, but it got my attention. So a lot of you saw that stupid looking film of me just in total shock when Pamela Furr and Buddy Sadler and Pete Weber put that surprise on me in April. What a nice surprise that was. And it led me to that night, what I would call kind of the walk of my life, where I got out of the house and for about 90 minutes, I just sort of said, how the hell did this happen? And it forces you to sort of think about things. And the thing that sort of crossed my mind was God has put so many incredible people in my life. And I want to say thank you to a few of them tonight. There are 3 tables up toward the front, and I'm not going to run through every last name. I'm going to generalize here. To those 3 tables, I say thank you to all of you, because each and every last one of you have done something for me that I could never forget, that has made my life better. And I'm so appreciative to that. Table number 4, I don't even know where y'all are. I'll call it my BGA table. Where are you all? Oh yeah. Battleground Academy has been such a part of my life, and I so appreciate the school making me feel like family. And the best thing that ever happened to me was going to BGA. And then there's my Vanderbilt table, the tallest table in the history of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, led by 6'11" Will Perdue, and all the way down to Petro. There's about 3,600 points that have been scored at Vandy by that table back there. They were my first broadcast team in the early 80s, and I am so appreciative to that group because they have kept me involved with what they do. I was only about 4 years older than them. It was a weird deal. I was only about 4 years older than them, and yet all these years later, a lot of the credit goes to Will Perdue because he keeps us all, every time he comes into town, we get together, and I get ripped to shreds. And Petro, so do you. Now, on to a few others. Man, I got the most unbelievable start in radio through 3 people, one of whom is here tonight. The late Paul Lyle, the late Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer Vic Rumore, and my good friend Steve Dickert. God, I drove him crazy. But he taught me the fundamentals of how to do radio right. And I was so fortunate to have Steve as a teacher, a mentor, one of about 4 general managers that I actually liked of the 12 that I ever had. And so, Steve, thank you very much for being here tonight. To 4 great people who helped me in my play-by-play life in my 20s. You could never appreciate the class and the dignity of a Watson Brown, who's now a co-host of mine, how lucky I've been to have him as a friend and a big brother, the late George McIntyre, the late C.M. Newton, and my buddy, producer, engineer, and as I used to say in our broadcast, even though it wasn't true, former Atlanta Braves third baseman Bob Horner. It was very interesting to me to note in the film that they did bring up the lawsuit. So what the hell, I'm gonna bring it up too. There are 3 attorneys that I want to thank. They have all my money. Seriously, to Scott Sims, to Bob Walker, and to Jack Waddy. Jack, I know you're here. Where are you? Happy 80th birthday to you. He had an 80th birthday party last night that was unbelievable. And thank you all, thanks to the 3 of you for not allowing a company to bully me into radio retirement 20 years ago. I'll never forget that. To an unbelievable core, Willie, Darren McFarland, John McClain from the Houston Chronicle, Chad Withrow, Jacob Underwood, Angie Smith. This was the crew, hell, it's the crew that has me up here. This crew created 104.5 The Zone off of my lawsuit, and you all were unbelievable. And I'm so thankful that Willie, both you and Darren are here tonight. I know the others are here in spirit. To people like Bob Jameson, who tried his butt off. By the way, that coat, that green, that hideous green thing, what in the world is that? That actually was a television broadcast of a no-hitter that a guy named Brian Kelly threw for the Nashville Sounds. Anyway, to people like Bob Jameson, Chip Walters, who I know is in the back there, Greg Ruff, Bud Walters, Chase McKay, Ted and Adam Johnson, Bob Meyer, Greg Poe, Terry McCormick. Been lucky. God has blessed me with a lot of great friends. And in this venture we've started now, Dave and Ellen Gould, Chris Kulik, Watson Brown, Young Guns, Billy Derrick, Michael Sindrick, Main Street Television. I am very fortunate and excited about this new venture. I want to say one last thing, then I'll shut up and get out of here. To the gentleman who got up earlier, who accepted the award for the Legacy Station, I hope I'm saying this right. Man, you hit it dead on right. Radio's not about corporate spreadsheets. It's not about hostile takeovers. Real radio, the way it was designed, is about community. It's about helping people. It's about a station in Cookeville helping tornado victims. It's about a station in Waverly helping flood victims. It's about keeping the Nashville Predators where they belong, in Smashville. That's what real radio is supposed to be. And so I put this challenge out because there's a group in here tonight that are what I would call radio lifers. Okay, you didn't get in this to get rich. You got in it because of a passion and a love. And God in return has given all of us a platform. And it's a platform that we have to make a decision of what it is we're going to do with it. And I challenge all of you tonight, find somebody or something that needs your help, and then use that platform to make a difference. To the folks involved in the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, thank you so much for this. This is a wonderful event. You all deserve a ton of credit because you're not getting paid to do this. These are volunteers who love radio. And lastly, I thank my mom and dad. They're not here, but somewhere up there, they're looking down and Dad's going, did he pay for those tickets? Good night to all of you. Thank you for putting me in this hall. This is a wonderful honor for me.
Wow. Watson, I don't get very often the chance to actually see, and I bet you haven't either when you speak to clubs. You very seldom ever get to see that stuff, what you've done later.
Oh, no.
It's way worse than I thought. By the way, what happened in the background there?
Oh, I think my wife just dropped something. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
If I got to get up, you'll understand why.
We'll know exactly what went on.
If I got to go. So
thanks to you and Brenda for caring to be there Saturday night. I really appreciate that.
Oh, we wouldn't have missed it for the world, George. That was neat. Just told you after it's over. Very proud of you. Nashville's lucky to have had you through these years. And just a well-deserved night for you. It's something you'll never forget, I can promise you.
Oh, you got that right. Billy, you were there as well. Thank you for taking the time to do that.
Yeah, George, that was special. It was a special night. A lot of, your speech was great, but three other people that did a great job of presenting themselves as well and their careers. So definitely a memorable night. Watson said it right.
I've got a good friend that was part of that group, Paul Tinkle, who owns several radio stations in West Tennessee. And that was very cool to be able to go in with him. And I just thank everybody who was there for caring about radio, which has been such a huge piece of my life. Anyway, enough of all this blather. We'll go to the break, and then Watson will get abused on Stat of the Day. So stick around. This is Main Street Media Television.
Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Tell me a little bit about your company.
So One Stop Realty has been around since 1974. We are your hometown brokerage. It is family owned by me. We have 30 agents that are waiting to help you with all your real estate needs. That counts as residential, commercial, and property management. We also will be getting into the auction business at the end of this month as well. We have listings that range from every price range that you can think of on the real estate market. I know Shelly Tucker has a new listing coming up in Gallatin. Heather Patton has one in Madison right around the corner here. I have one coming up myself. We have everything you need as far as real estate, and we have the expertise to help you out.
Beautiful. Give them a phone number.
Phone numbers for the office is 615-822-0750. You can find us on the web at www.onestoprealty.tn.com.
Thanks for getting involved with us.
George,
really appreciate this. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think so.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with the tractor trailer truck that hurt my leg so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
So we go from the high of being inducted into a Hall of Fame to the low of perhaps getting abused on Stat of the Day, which all I can tell you is this: it was easier on radio to think, but when you're looking into a camera, some of the most obvious stuff out there, we just absolutely bomb at. It's embarrassing. But, Watson, we have renewed enthusiasm for the week.
Well, let's go for it.
Sure we do.
That might not last long.
What a load of crap that was.
Yeah, that one was a good one. Let's see how far that goes.
We'll see. We'll see how today's Stat of the Day goes. It is powered by John English Vintage Sports and Cards. They specialize in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. You can visit them in Shelbyville, Tennessee, open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 o'clock and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock. Visit them on the web at johnenglishgradedcards.com. And today's Stat of the Day, we go baseball. We go back a long time ago, 1934. How much did Babe Ruth have to pay to get his 700th career home run back?
What a dumb question.
He's not making it easy on us with some of these questions.
No. We've got to head over to Arkansas and have a little talk with somebody about these.
Think about the value of a dollar back in the 30s.
I mean, that's a great point.
I'll say 25,000.
Oh wow. Okay, hold on. We're not going there yet.
I'll say that's a little too high.
Yeah, I was going to say more like $500 to $1,000. Of course, at the time, think about this. Babe Ruth was the first player to ever get to 700, which then leads me to this point. Does anybody truly believe Barry Bonds is our home run king? No.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about a record that nobody acknowledges. It's that one. Nobody pays any attention to the fact that in his steroid-induced whatever, he hit 73 in a year. Sosa hit 66. Mark McGwire hit 70. And we were supposed to buy that? Oof. Okay. So, Watson, we know it's not 25 grand. Do you think I'm high or low?
I think you're low.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you a hint. It is below $100.
Holy cow.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding.
Well, reveal.
We're going to go ahead and reveal. It is $20.
You got to be kidding.
He paid $20 to get that ball back. I was stunned too.
Where is that ball today? Does anybody know?
Who
Haven't
knows?
got a clue.
John English.
He may well. Hey, let me say this. As good as that place is, I wouldn't rule that out, but I will say this. For that $20, you can get about 3 gallons of gas.
Maybe.
God.
That's great.
That's it, even though the question does not rise to the standard that we need it to. That's pretty interesting.
Interesting, but bad question.
Yeah. I mean,
how the heck are we going to guess that?
I don't know. I mean, I think we've got to rethink the questions and maybe go back to my 4-part deals that I was so famous for. Anyway, enough of that. I knew it wasn't going to feel like a Hall of Fame induction. So the 5 o'clock hour is here. Do you read something to get us to 5 o'clock?
Yes, I do. You don't know that by now, George?
I've tried to block it out.
The 5 o'clock hour is powered by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint. They combine state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Oh, George, I'm forgetting about getting this up on the screen. There we go. All right, 5 o'clock hour, Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint. Their mission is to provide high-quality, specialized orthopedic care in a compassionate manner to the people of Columbia and Middle Tennessee. You can visit them online at mtbj.net for more info.
Okay, so the 5 o'clock hour is now officially here. One of the real surprises last season in the SEC, the Arkansas Razorbacks. That big fan base in Fayetteville, they love calling the Hogs, and they had a lot of reason to a year ago. Think back when Sam Pittman got hired. Man, they were the dregs of society in the SEC West, and suddenly they have become pretty good. With that in mind, we reached out to Andrew Hutchinson. He knows as much about the Hogs as anybody, and here is that interview. I'm going to go with this first and then really get into Arkansas. As you know, the Titans have Treylon Burks, and kind of tell us what we're getting here, because it seems like this young man has a lot of pressure on him. Essentially, he's replacing A.J. Brown.
Yeah, those are quite the shoes to fill out there. But if there's anybody I have confidence in, it's Treylon Burks. I mean, this guy is a guy that was highly regarded coming out of high school, pretty much a 4-star recruit everywhere. But he's a guy that I think is a classic example of where maybe recruiting services kind of come up short, in that he really didn't care about going to all these camps and things like that. You know, he was too busy hunting and fishing to bother himself with that kind of stuff. And if he had, I think he would have been a 5-star recruit, because he was that kind of an athlete. I saw him play as a sophomore in high school and knew he was going to be special. And then to watch him for 3 years at Arkansas was really awesome. I mean, he was such a really talented player, just oozes with talent. I think if he really puts his mind to it, he could be a tremendous NFL football player. I think the Titans got a good one. And I know there's some nervous fans out there. You know, I know that he didn't get off to necessarily the best start, but I think if you stick with him, I think he'll make you proud.
What do you think will be his biggest adjustment going to the NFL?
It's a good question. I mean, I think just maybe that, I hate to say this, that question is work ethic, but just the fact that it is, your full-time job. I mean, you are playing football, you are paid to play football. And this is a guy that really does enjoy, he's not one that, wants to go out to like nightclubs and go partying and stuff like that, but he does enjoy going hunting and fishing and, just a good old country Arkansas boy like that. So I think that's going to be something to adjust to. And also just, as great, he did play in the SEC, so he's used to facing, really talented defenses, but the NFL is a step up still, even from the SEC. So kind of adjusting to the fact that, hey, these other guys on the other side of the ball are really good as well. I think that'll be something that maybe takes a little bit of time, but I do expect him to have success as a rookie and then just continue to get better as he, kind of gets acclimated.
Andrew, in an era where you have mostly flashy offensive coordinator types that are getting hired as head coaches, Sam Pittman was anything but that. He felt like one of these guys that would have been one of the old Hogs in the Washington Redskins. And a lot of people, kind of thumbed their nose at the hire. Talk to me about what he has done that has been so successful to turn it around as quick as he has.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Pittman was a guy that a lot of people kind of questioned, but I think Arkansas fans were at least open to giving it a shot because of what he was able to do, his stint here as the offensive coordinator before leaving to go to Georgia. And then, of course, Arkansas fans followed him and saw the success he had at Georgia. And so there was kind of this openness to like, okay, well, maybe it won't be terrible, like maybe the national perception was. And really the number one thing he's done is he's restored pride in the program, both, in the locker room and among the fan base. because the locker room was not in a good place under Chad Morris. That it was not an SEC roster that was going to win any game. I mean, that's why we saw them lose 18, 19 games in a row, or however many it ended up being. And so really he came in there and said, hey, y'all are talented enough to win. And we saw that in year one. They went 3-7 in that weird pandemic year when it was a 10-game conference schedule. And 3 of those losses were really close and arguably should have been wins. So you're looking at potentially going 6-4 in a year one after back-to-back 2-10 seasons where you didn't win a single conference game. You lost to the likes of San Jose State and Western Kentucky, North Texas, teams like that. So really he's restored the pride, and now we're starting to see him do the other things that you need to have a successful program, like recruiting. I think right now the 2023 class on most services is ranked in the top 10. Probably not going to finish in the top 10. I think Alabama's still behind them and some schools like that will eventually catch up and pass them. But they could legitimately be a top 20 class and maybe even a top 15 class if the dominoes fall the right way. And that's when you start really kind of building for success down the line. And we've seen that. They've done what they could with talented players. We talked about Treylon Burks earlier. He was an incredible player that they got the most out of. Their quarterback right now, KJ Jefferson, is one of the top 2 or 3 in the SEC. They're getting the most out of him. They just seem to be getting the most out of their roster, both schematically and also just kind of that mental attitude that you need to have a winning football program.
Can they, under this regime and what they're doing, can they take a leap that says to Alabama, we're going to get on your level?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take some work, but, we did just see last year they were right there with Alabama the entire game, lost by a touchdown. And obviously that's just one game. You can beat Alabama and lose to other teams that aren't as good as Alabama. And we saw that. I mean, they didn't play well against Auburn, but, I think that they're building toward that. When Sam Pittman first got hired, I'm not going to lie, I said that I thought he was going to be a solid coach who just kind of got Arkansas back on solid ground, and that it would be the next coach that took them to that level. After 2 years of watching them, I now think Sam Pittman is capable of taking them that next level. How long that's going to take, that remains to be seen.
In their schedule this year, what is the game that pivots them one way or the other, in your opinion?
It's a hard schedule every year, but let's just take a moment to look at the non-conference slate for Arkansas. Cincinnati, that was just in the college football playoff. BYU on the road, that's a top 25 team. You got Liberty coming to town, which maybe they're not as good as they were last year when they were a top 25 team, but still a tough challenge. And your FCS opponent is a Missouri State team coached by the one and only Bobby Petrino. So there are no easy games on this slate, including just the SEC slate that's always tough. So as far as kind of the swing game that will dictate how good they are, there's a really tough stretch there in the middle of the schedule where there's like 3 straight road games. I think they play Mississippi State on the road. They've got BYU, Auburn. I think it's one of those 3 games. If you can win 2 of those 3 games, then I think you're looking at a tremendous season. If you win 1 of those games, I think you're going to be solid. And if you lose all 3, then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's going to be an average year if you can take care of business in all the other ones. So that's kind of the key stretch, in my opinion, of the season. If I had to pick one particular game, I think Mississippi State kicks off that run, and I think they maybe follow, if I'm remembering it correctly, I think that follows the Texas A&M and Alabama games, which if you can't win either of those, get back on track by beating Mississippi State team that you've, beaten the last couple of years.
Okay, last thing for you. Some people are young enough that they don't even remember there was a time Arkansas was not a part of the Southeastern Conference. As you look around the landscape of all this stuff, if Arkansas had not ended up in the SEC, where would they be today?
That's a good question. I was born after Arkansas joined the SEC, but I
Thanks for making me feel old.
I do consider myself somewhat of a historian, and I've talked to the other older guys on the beat and everything, and I don't know if Arkansas had stayed in the Southwest Conference, they may have been on the outside looking in when they joined with the Big 8, now Big 12. Then at that point, where would they go? I mean, would they have ended up like a TCU where they kind of bounced around from like Conference USA and the WAC and, all those, kind of crazy conferences? I don't know. I mean, you'd think that as successful of a program as they were at that time, I mean, the basketball team was rolling. The football team in the 80s, at least, was fantastic. I mean, really the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They had a 3-decade run where they were, one of the top 20 programs in the country in terms of college football. So you'd like to think they would have been picked up by someone, but based on what I've heard, I don't know if the Texas schools would have, really liked them joining them in the Big 12. So it's a fascinating question. They may be kind of in a spot similar to a TCU or, maybe like a West Virginia or something like that, kind of wondering where their next home is going to be.
It's an interesting enough question that I'm going to throw it right in Watson Brown's lap. Watson, you were in some of that old Southwest Conference stuff when you were at Rice. If Arkansas had not ended up in the SEC, where would they be today?
Absolutely in the Big 12. They were one of the top dogs of the Southwest Conference. So they would not have been left out. They wouldn't have been the Rices or whatever was left out. I think even Baylor was early, right? And then they got in. I think I'm right about that. Or were they original? I can't remember, but no way Arkansas was left out. They were, in my opinion, always in that top 4 thought process. Their football was very solid. Lou Holtz, Ken Hatfield during that time. And then the basketball, gosh, it's been solid all the way through. No way Arkansas gets left out of the Big 12.
Yeah. Couple of things here, and I don't know, Billy, if we can put Arkansas's schedule back up there. But Watson, when I asked the question about, okay, could they ever, if Pittman, if his magic continues, could they get up toward Alabama? What were you thinking when I asked that?
I looked at the schedule and said, after the open date, they got to go on a run. That's what I think. And the run starts at Auburn. If they get Auburn, they got Liberty, LSU, Ole Miss at home in a row. They could go 4-0 heading to Missouri. So I think the game on there is win the 5, at least 4 of the 5. But I think all 5 of those games for Arkansas is winnable after the open date. The Texas A&M and Alabama back-to-back, now that's nobody wants to jump into that one. And then to finish that, to leave those 2, and then to go at Mississippi State, at BYU. They need the open date right where it is. I think regroup and go 5-0 after that.
Okay, let's take a piece of exactly what Watson talked about. When all the Boise States and the Central Floridas start crowing, go ahead and put that thing back up there, if you will, about, we've done this, we're undefeated. Look at late September. A&M neutral site, Arlington, Texas. Tough game. Alabama, really emotional game. And then about the time you say, oh, we've got a breather, we're going to Mississippi State. Watson, when you play 3 of those in a row in the SEC, that third one very seldom turns out good.
Oh, and that's anybody in the SEC. That's what the SEC is all about. How many times have you heard me say, George, and I'm not talking about my Vanderbilt time, I'm talking about I've been in the SEC at different places. I was at Mississippi State, one of the places you're talking about. That is a very tough place to play, man. And when you've just put it all on the line against A&M and Alabama, then you got to go to Starkville, and then you catch your breath and go to BYU. That's a tough stretch. That's why I say 2-2 maybe come out of that. Even if you came out 1-3 and you're 3-0 coming into that stretch, then you make your run after that, you got a shot. But that's one of the tougher stretches right there, in my opinion, George, that I've seen, because that's 2 of those 3 are road games. It's a road game for both them and A&M, but it's a road game. You get in the plane, you travel, it's a road game. So, and then I think maybe the hardest get-up game in the bunch, even past, is BYU. I think that's the hardest get-up game of the bunch because they're going to work really hard to try to get them back up after A&M and Alabama for Mississippi State, really hard. And then all of a sudden you turn around and do it again, and you head to BYU, which is another tough place to play. I've been there too. So I think that's a very tough stretch.
So are they good enough? I know Cincinnati will have lost a bunch of folks. Are they good enough to beat Cincinnati?
Yes. I'll be disappointed if they don't win that game. I think they beat Cincinnati. I think they beat South Carolina. I think they beat Missouri State. I think they're 3-0 and feel good about themselves headed to Arlington. And then it's time to play ball. And even though they've had to play ball in 2 of those first 3, Missouri State's a solid FCS program, but that's not a tough game.
Early line.
Cincinnati and South Carolina are tough games. Both of them in Little Rock. No, they're Fayetteville, in Fayetteville. And another really tough place to play. I've been there quite a few times. I don't think Fayetteville, not Little Rock now, but Fayetteville is one of the toughest places to go in the conference. I put it up there right at the top to me. It's very loud. The stadium's built straight up there, and it's a very loud place to play, and the fans are really good SEC fans.
Great time for the picture. By the way, that is a 2:30 in the afternoon game, Labor Day weekend, Saturday. It'll be hotter than you can fill in the blank from there.
In Fayetteville, Arkansas, you got it, buddy. It will be hot.
Man. You talk about both teams better have some depth for a 2:30 game first week of September. No, thank you. I'm not sitting through that.
Think that's made for TV, George?
Oh, you know
it. It wouldn't be at 2:30 if it wasn't television, buddy.
No, it'd be more like 8 o'clock.
You got it.
Couple of things. After the break, we're going to talk about the Cale Gundy situation because Watson knows him well. Then we're going to open up the phone lines at 5:40. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to get Billy to throw out the phone number because I want some of you to jump in when we go to the phones at 5:40. This is Main Street Media Television.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs from the basics to cosmetic procedures, All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
Okay, here we go. First thing, 5:40 today, we open up the phones, and I want some participation from some of you to jump in and talk a little sports with us as we try to get the phones more integrated into our show. There is the phone number. I hope you'll jot it down. It is 588-2998. We will put that back up on the screen 2 or 3 times during this segment. And remember, if you don't call us, we may call you. Did you like that, Billy?
I love that line. When you first said that a couple weeks ago, that one got me.
So the Cale Gundy story is out there. Longtime assistant at Oklahoma. Watson Brown knows him well. We're going to get his perspective on this in a minute. For those who may be saying, I've been working today, haven't seen the story, lay it on us the way it's reported.
So, George, Oklahoma's Cale Gundy has stepped down from his role as the team's wide receivers coach. That was yesterday after he read a racial slur from a player's iPad during a team meeting. He explained the incident that led to his resignation in a statement that he released on Twitter. He said, in quote, "I owe it to Sooner Nation to be transparent about what led to this decision. Last week during a film session, I instructed my players to take notes. I noticed a player was distracted and picked up his iPad and read aloud the words that were written on his screen. The words displayed had nothing to do with football." So that's a situation with Cale Gundy. Obviously unfortunate, but I mean, in today's day and age, that's a no-no.
Watson, I know it's sad for you because you have known Cale Gundy for years, and he's a good human being who's gotten caught in a bad situation.
George, just like you the other night and talking about different people in your life, Cale has been a big part of my life in a lot of ways. He was a starting quarterback at Oklahoma when I went as offensive coordinator there. We became very close through that because I also coached the quarterbacks. He had a fantastic senior year. Just played really, really well. Came to coach with me when we started football at UAB, scholarship football at UAB. Came with me, stayed a few years with me, and the only place he left me there and went to Oklahoma. Been there ever since, and just an unbelievable guy. I don't know yet. I've texted him, left voicemail. Haven't talked to him yet. It's killed me when I heard it this morning. All I can tell you is I don't know what went down. I don't know the words that were said that he read from the iPad. I know that from what I understand, he read it more than once. That may be what got him in a little trouble. I don't know. But I can absolutely tell you this, George. They're in the racist bone in his body. If there's ever a player's coach, it's Cale Gundy. The players absolutely love him. And the second piece that I know, he absolutely loves the University of Oklahoma. Probably the most loyal guy to that university of any player coach that I've ever been around. I mean, he's had ample opportunity to leave Oklahoma to be a coordinator, to be a head coach, and he has stayed right in Norman, Oklahoma, and would never have left. He would have finished his career coaching at the University of Oklahoma. He's been kept on by so many head coaches, George, through that time. He's just well respected, loves Oklahoma. That's the reason, in my opinion, I've heard people say he got fired. I don't believe that. I don't believe he was pushed out. I think Kel did this, and I have no proof. I've yet to talk to him. But I think he did this in the way that he thought it was hurting the university and would hurt the players on that team, and he didn't want to do that. And this will devastate him. I'm telling you, this will be very hard, George, for him to handle, and I hope all of his close friends are by his side through this, because it's just not another job to Cale. This will be really hard on him.
Ironically, of course, his brother is the head football coach at Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy. That's kind of a weird piece of this story, given the fact that Cale is an Oklahoma Sooner through and through. Watson, couple of things. My hope is that what happens is that a year from now, somebody has the smarts to hire him. I would assume this year, not going to happen. Who knows? He may end up being an analyst for somebody in a few weeks, although I don't know that. But here's the thing that strikes me. I can remember Bill Curry, a great football coach, and I think a great man.
Yes.
Got frustrated in, I want to say, a Sugar Bowl that everybody saw. And he got pissed off at a player who did something wrong, and he yanked him by the helmet back toward the sideline. Well, the fact of it is, today, that would get him fired. It just simply would.
George, it's a different world. I won't say that, I don't want to say that racial statements or whatever was accepted more back when I was in my heyday in time. I won't say that, because it meant a lot to me and people that I was around, that you just don't do that. And the great thing with this is Cale didn't say it himself. He read it. That's still not good. I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you, the interracial bone in his body. I hope if he wants it, he gets another shot coaching somewhere. I know I've known that family so well, his mom and dad. Yeah, and you're right. Both he and his brother were quarterbacks at rival schools. They didn't. I don't think they ever played against each other in a rival way. I think Cale's the younger of the two. But if he wants another shot, I sure hope he gets it. I just want people to be by his side through this, because it won't be devastating to him in a way for himself. It'll be devastating to what he thinks he's done to the football team and the University of Oklahoma. That will be something I'm not sure he'll ever get over.
Watson, let me ask it this way. Because I understand a lot of where this is all going. There are certain things you can't say, I can't say, and we know that. But coaching is a really emotional charged kind of deal. I mean, you all, this is your lifeblood, and you're trying to motivate 18 to 22-year-old kids. What is the right line here? Because sometimes I wonder, somebody who cheats, who deliberately manipulates the game, is back in a year or two. They pay the quote penalty and they're back. But things like this, what's the right line here?
The right line, in my opinion, George, is, first of all, you do your best to never say those things. Everybody says it's worse today. The reason it's worse today is the communication skills are so much quicker on you with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the ways. It's out there immediately, George. So it's a different world. I always said, treat each situation as you're talking to a family member, and just try to stay away from that. But we make mistakes. I'm a firm believer in second chances, man. I just believe that. And unless it's something really, you've murdered somebody, whatever, but we make mistakes. We're human beings. That we make mistakes, period. I don't care if you're 72 or you're 50 like Kel is. We make mistakes. I'm a firm believer that there's a place that everybody deserves a second shot up to a point. And then even some of those, if they go to jail for 30 years, they still deserve a second shot some way. So I hope and pray he gets the second shot. And I hope and pray that he can deal with this.
Click connect to show now.
He can deal with this, George, to where he wants a second shot. I'm telling you, I'm more worried about that. Not in a personal way, but in how I know he's going to feel toward his university.
Okay, let me toss this out here. And again, we don't have all of the facts, and I want to make that clear that we don't.
No, we don't.
Some of you have read some things, maybe even that I have not so far, or Watson has not. This one really bothers you. I can feel it in the way you're saying it. It's harder to be a coach today than it was 10 years ago. Bottom line, in so many ways. Good Lord. NIL, transfer portal. But this kind of thing that you used to have a little bit more leeway. It appears to me you have none.
You know, I'm not sure we had more leeway. Just things would happen that never got out, to be honest. I mean.
But I brought up the one, Watson, about Bill Curry, who I think was a great human being.
Yes.
When he grabbed that kid's face mask and drug it away, back then the reaction was, oh, look at that. Wow, look at that. Today, he's gone. It is different.
You're right. And it's how I've grabbed face mask many times.
You do it.
I was dumb enough in my younger years as a head coach when I'd have two fight, I'd grab them both by the face mask and stick their heads right together and say, "We're stopping this. It's 15 yards on us. It'd be 30 yards with both of you doing it.
You're gone."
And then I'd kick them off the field for 10 minutes and then bring them back or something. But that's what I did. I'd grab both of them's face masks and put them right next to each other. And I say, enough's enough. Stop it. Yeah, I mean, it is different. I don't want to defend what went down here at all. I'm defending Cale, and I know what he is, how he is. This isn't a one-time deal where I'm reading something. This goes back with 20 years of being around this young man and knowing him. And it is tough that something like this can throw out his last 30 years of being in the business. But that's the way it is, George. And I just hope he can get through it. And I absolutely hope somebody gives him another shot. Let's just let it play out. I'm really anxious to see what was said, but the way I'm catching vibes of it, it sounds like it was something racial that he read.
Yeah.
And if he read it more than once, that wasn't good. He did that.
Yeah. Okay. I know we're going to go to the break here in just a second. Billy, I need you to do a couple of things real quickly. Last week, I think it was, I want to say Thursday, we've tried out the phone lines. This is an important piece of how I do sports talk. I have to use the word radio. It's now television. It is important that we give you all the opportunity to react to things we're doing, but we also need your participation. I've made a lot of jokes over the years about I need 4 red-blooded Americans to jump in on the phones and get it going, because the truth of it is these are better shows when you all participate, and I am bound and determined that phones will be a part of this. Okay, there's our phone number, 615-588-2998. I want you to hit the phones. You figure out the topic. Doesn't matter, but I want to hear from you. and I want you to jump in there now. Poor Brian Stewart sitting there going, I got dumped for a phone graphic. Well, Brian, for 30 seconds, the answer is you did.
I was getting my phone out just so I could call and get on the show, George.
Hold on. We'll give you that chance here in a few minutes. So tell me what's going on between when we talked on Friday and today.
Well, it's the start of a new week here. One thing that I noticed this weekend, George, and let me lead off by saying congratulations to you, George. You are well-deserved of your award. I would have loved to have been there in person and seen it. I know you were surrounded by friends and just had a fantastic night. And I just want to tell you how much, just speaking as one fan of the show, how much we appreciate everything you've done for Nashville through the years, man. Thank you.
Brian, thank you. It was so cool to see my BGA group, my Vanderbilt group, Watson, Billy, a bunch of friends. Man, I'd be sitting here lying if I said that didn't feel good.
No, I know it had to have felt good, George. I mean, it's I don't think I think it's just like real estate. You know, if I go out and achieve an award, it's not because I'm doing it because I want somebody to pat me on the back. It's because I'm trying to do a better job for my clients. And that's, you know, that's something that I learned early on, is that if you make it about yourself, it usually doesn't work out in the end. But if you care about something and put your heart and soul into it, you reap the benefits all your career long. And that's something that, speaking for one-stop agents, I've got agents here that have just been doing this their whole life, and they've devoted their life to helping other families and people in Middle Tennessee achieve their dreams of owning real estate, whether it's a single-family residence or if they're an investment type and they're trying to make a career out of turning homes over or getting into property management. I mean, that's something that we try to help with every day, and it's something that keeps me coming back to the office every day, is making people new homeowners, helping them realize that real estate dream. And over the weekend, we were able to do that. I had many agents come in with contracts this morning. So we're going to all have new neighbors here in Nashville. And that's something that I love doing day in, day out. All my agents do as well. We would love to help you. I know you have many choices when it comes to real estate, but whenever you think of local and you think of community, One Stop Realty should be at the top of that list, because that's what we are about. George, I'd love to give y'all some numbers here to where y'all get a hold of us too.
Do it.
Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone number is 615-440-7011. Billy, I hope you got that number down.
I can't believe I asked what your cell number was, Brian. I apologize for that.
And then, of course, you can get us at OneStopRealtyTN.com. And please give us a follow on Facebook or Instagram. We always have updates on what's going on with the real estate market, and we can keep you in the loop as far as being a buyer or seller anytime in the future.
Brian, thank you so much. Appreciate the nice words. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Thank you, George. Watson, have a good day, sir.
Thank you, buddy. See you, Brian.
Before we go to the break, can we put that thing back up there? You say, man, he sounds like he's begging for phone calls. It's not that. I want to start to establish, as we get close to football season, that you all have that ability at that voice. So there's the phone number. Hit it now. This is Main Street Media Television. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
I am disappointed. There are no phone calls on the line. However, I will doggedly get it to the point where we're getting a bunch of phone calls because, Watson, if they don't call us, it's very possible we will call them.
I love it. Go for it, man.
I'll tell you the other thing I used to throw out there was that if you don't call, we will send Gruff Dog, Greg Ruff, to your home, and nobody wants that.
No, I wouldn't want that. So it'd make me pick up the phone and call.
Absolutely. Let's put the number up one more time and see if there's a hearty soul out there that will take us up on the invite. Let's put that thing back up there. The phone number, there it is. Beautiful graphic. Watson, while it was a really cool weekend for me, into each life, some rain must fall. Do you have any idea where I'm going with that?
No, I don't, but I can't wait to hear it.
The Braves.
I wondered if that was going to be brought up. I mean,
oh my
George,
God, they went to New York and took the gas.
What do you say? Who's your daddy?
Oh, there was who's your daddy? I mean, the Mets clearly are the daddy. Couple of things are going on right now. Number one, you have to admire the fact that the Mets got all of this done for a long time this year without Max Scherzer, without Jacob deGrom. All of a sudden, they've gotten those two back, and they've got better starting pitching right now than the Braves do.
Much better.
Yeah, quite a bit better. Ian Anderson, been a big disappointment. They finally had to send him packing, send him back to Gwinnett. Now, the way I understand it, he may not be here in Nashville because he's going to pitch an emergency game for the team in a doubleheader over the weekend down in Miami and then report to Gwinnett, which is a weird way to do it. But yeah, I mean, the Braves have got some problems right now. They're right now, they're going to be a wild card team.
George, I hate to butt in, but I think we got a caller.
Oh, I know. It'll be big here in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Watson.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble, George. Watching some of them this weekend, caught a little bit of this game, that game. Not the whole games, but a little bit of the pitching difference to me is night and day right now. The Mets are deep and have two dominant guys. And it looks like they're going to stay dominant. They're getting very consistent. And I think they're going to be hard to catch, my man. I'm sorry. But how many they got them? How many times they got them in Atlanta left? Do you know?
They have the last 7 games between the two teams are in Atlanta. This is our one advantage in that they will play 4 in Atlanta in about, I want to say 2 weeks. And then the final week of the regular season, 3 down in Atlanta. So the last 7, I believe I'm right, are all in Atlanta.
Well, when that 4-game stretch comes up, absolutely got to make a run right there because it's going to be hard to catch them just playing games and not against each other. It's going to be hard to catch them because they're too consistent. They don't lose 2 in a row very often. I mean,
well, because they're getting great starting pitching.
Yeah, I mean, the difference to me, Ronald Acuna is not himself. Okay, no. He's not. But the difference is the pitching, and it's a big difference in what I saw this weekend. The Mets just can breathe because they know that pitching's so good. It's like the Braves have got to take advantage of everything they get to beat the good teams, and that's a hard way to go, man.
Let's go to Andrew in Franklin, Tennessee. Andrew, welcome into Main Street Media Television.
Thank you, George. I'm sorry I was a little late on the call there. I was walking my dog, and once I got back to start watching the show, I saw the phone number up, so I wanted to call.
What kind of dog we got?
I think it's a mini Bernie Doodle, a Bernese Mountain Dog mixed with a poodle.
Nice.
So he's just 4 months, but you got to walk him. If you don't walk him at least 3 times a day, he's going to be eating up every shoe, sock, trinket you leave on the floor. He's going to be eating it. But to get back to some baseball, George, I have a little stat of the day for you related to this whole Braves-Mets conversation.
Oh, let's hear it.
So there's a little stat called WRC+, and all that means is weighted runs created. And so it tracks the best offenses throughout all of baseball. And number 1 and 2 are the Murderers Row, Yankees, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. But at number 5, all time, is the 2020 Mets, who did not even make the playoffs. And the reason is when you look at their stat line, their batting average, slugging percentage, with nobody on base, it was comparable to Eddie Murray, Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer for the Orioles. But with runners in scoring position, for the season, they batted under 200. And that's why in a COVID year where it seems like everyone made the playoffs, the Mets missed out, even though they technically had the 5th best offense in MLB history.
I need you to talk just a little bit louder, if you will. I'll tell you where it really showed up. Jacob deGrom, who was just lights out that year, he got no run support. He pitched in so many 2-1s and 1-0s. It was absurd.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, sorry if I'm speaking a little quiet, but when you looked at it, the Mets had 5 players bat over 300, and yet with runners in scoring position, they couldn't even hit 200. So I just thought that was an interesting stat that I saw this weekend. So and can you believe that? A team that didn't make the playoffs in a year where half the teams made it is the 5th best offense of all time, only behind a few New York Yankees seasons with quite possibly the greatest lineups ever assembled. So I thought that you guys
I don't know where you found it, but that's pretty good stuff right there.
Well, that's why I had to call in.
Thank you for doing that.
I had it in my back pocket.
Thank you for doing that. So, Watson, a couple of things about that. I'll guarantee you Buck Showalter knows that stat, even though I don't, even though you probably don't. He probably does. There are guys on that team that I've thought were duds who have become pretty darn good players. Brandon Nimmo, center fielder who I have not thought was all that good. Jeff McNeil has suddenly become a hitter nobody can get out. The Mets are for real. They really are.
George, that's where I think the manager's the biggest part of a manager in Major League Baseball, college baseball, is the confidence level he gives to kids. Everybody talks about the manager and decisions he's making during the game. Buck Showalter has a way of it just goes right through him to the players. And that's the difference, I think. I see a confident Mets team. Yeah, they're winning, but they had to start winning somewhere along the way too. And I just think the difference in they're not scoring and people are in scoring position, and now they are, it's him. I just think it just reaps through the whole team, and before you know it, they don't think they can be beaten. They're playing that way. And the Braves are, what did we say a couple of weeks ago? I said, Braves are going to have to beat them because this bunch is not going to beat themselves. The Braves are going to have to pass them.
Okay, we'll go to the break at 5:53, and then Plaster Bet of the Day is coming up as I try to get back to the 500 mark. This is Main Street Media Television.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local, and I think Main Street media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years. And keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers, and that's what I like about Main Street media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Well, let me start out by apologizing to any of you who may have been on the phone lines. We continue to have some phone issues. We are going to figure this out if it's the last thing I do, because I want phone calls and I want that to be an important part of our show. Billy, it's time for Plaster Bet of the Day. Where are we in the old standings?
George, you're making moves in the standings. You suffered a loss on Friday, but you're 9-10 right now. So you got to 9-9 on Thursday after those that double whammy victory, but you are at 9-10 right now. So you need a bounce back.
Seattle didn't score any runs Friday night. Very disappointing. I get a little bitter over these things. I would rather lose 10-8. Than pick a team and get no offense. Now, it's losers talk, but I just want my team to show something. Give me some sign of life. Don't give me this one-run crap.
There was zero fight in Seattle.
Very bitter. There was later in the weekend.
Later?
Yeah, a lot of good that did me. Okay, so we now give you tonight's selection in a very limited menu.
George, before we do that, though, we've got a Bart Durham read here. Of course, Bart Durham is the sponsor here of Plaster's Bet of the Day, as I scramble here to pull that up. But Bart Durham injury law has aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you too have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, or at your workplace, you should let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full financial compensation you need. Learn more about Bart Durham injury law by logging on to bartdurham.com. And here is Plaster's Bet of the Day. San Diego minus 190.
San Diego, the old Padres. They're at home. Blake Snell has been pitching very well, but frankly, so has former Brave Alex Wood. Watson, I need a win. And I demand a win tonight.
Well, let's see if you get it. I think it's a good one. I think that's a good pick.
It got me all choked up.
I can tell. Yeah, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
Not like the cost of a cup of coffee, right? When I say it's a good pick, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Good show tomorrow. Very college football oriented. Tony Basilio, radio sports talk show host in Knoxville, will join us. He's ventured out into a little bit of the kind of stuff we're doing as well. And then the absolute mayor of college football in the South, Tony Barnhart, at 5 o'clock. So we got a great show for you. Watson, see you tomorrow. Behave until then.
I'll do my best, George. Thank you.
You just try to behave, period.
I'll try. I got that talk coming soon.
Thanks to all of you for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow on Main Street Media Television.